All right, I'm going to make a quick video here showing you how to use character styles and paragraph styles. Um, and those two are related. Know that you can use character styles without paragraph styles, but in order to use paragraph styles, you have to have character styles. These both come from CSS code in the web, and I guess it doesn't matter. Okay, let's look at this document. This is the template. Notice it has all of the text in it and most of the pages. This red dot indicates that you'll need to add more pages to that, and I'll show you that later. This is the cover, the front cover. Usually there's a back cover that's by itself as a single page at the end as well. Okay, so you've got all this text. One thing that's interesting about the text is it's threaded, meaning the text box goes from here, it goes to there, next it's linked together. I can show you that if I change the view to show text threads. It's under View, Extra, Show Text Threads. And then you can see how the text boxes are linked together. This is helpful if you're going to make a change in the size of the box. For example, if I make that one shorter, then this information that was here flows over into the next one, and I could do the same thing over here. Okay, and this continues on. You're obviously going to have to add more pages so everything fits. Yeah, but I want to stick to paragraph styles and character styles first. That's what I said I would do. Okay, so I'm going to be true to my word here. The first thing you're going to do, so write down step 1, is to manually stylize type. And what I mean by that is you use your character palette and your type tool. You highlight some text, and then you go and you change it. You're going to change the character, the weight, the size, etc. Because this is a science book, I'm going to go with a geometric sans serif. That seems to be, kind of the right approach for me. All right. I'm going to try to choose an emphasis on one thing or the other. Let's see. No, it's kind of, yeah, we won't talk about the green yet. So I've decided I'm going to make these distinctly bigger. So I'm going to kick them up to 15, and I'm going to make them light, and maybe light italic. So they stand out, but not too much. Since this is the title of the symposium presentation here, I'm going to highlight that. I'm going to probably push that to an extra bold. Yeah, I don't like how it just drifts down there. So I'll just go to bold. Its size, yeah, okay. I'll leave it at 12. It's pretty big. These guys, regular, but I'm going to probably drop them both down to 10. And then this one I'm going to make into an italic. So again, I'm just going through and stylizing in such a way that, makes sense to me. My eye will go from here to here to here to here. You see, I'm trying to set up these stepping stones. So, yeah, that's working. Now this is considered the body copy related to these titles, subtitles, etc. And body copy is by default 9. So it makes it much smaller, much easier to read. We do have an error in that the line length is now too long. We could talk about that later. Okay. And now let's do a preview. Okay, so that's what I've got. Okay, so let's say I want the rest of the document, which follows the same pattern. It gives me a number, a title, an author, an advisor, and body copy. And it does that over and over again throughout the whole thing. Let's say I want to follow this and have this to be my standard. Okay, that's where character styles and paragraph styles come in. So write down number 2, build your character styles. So I'm going to push this character palette over, and I'm going to pull out the one called character styles. And oh, by the way, if you want to get to these windows, you go here and type. Well, that's the character one that I was just using. And now styles, well, you could get to character styles or paragraph styles, okay? So here we are, we've got character styles. What I need to do is highlight a little bit of some of the stylized text, and then with that little chunk, the computer knows typeface, a weight, a size, etc. And so now I can choose from the character styles menu palette, new character style, and I need to name these in a very intelligent way. So I'm just going to have you guys use web terms for these. H2 means headline 2. In the future, I intend to make my main headlines right there, the H1. I go to basic character format now. It says Open Sans Light 16. I'm going to change this always to auto. I'm not going to just leave it blank. And I might give it a color just so you can see these things take effect. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing. Grab a chunk of this next one. I'm going to make another character style. Very good. I'm going to call this H3. And I'm going to look over, and sure enough, it's bold. I do want a size. I want it at 12, and I'm going to leave this at auto. Again, I'm going to give it a color just so you can see when these changes are taking effect, because I don't want you to get confused at what you manually stylized versus what we're going to use character styles, paragraph styles for. Okay, so I've got this one and this one set up now. All right, I'm going to come over here, highlight some of this. I'll set this up as surprise, surprise, H4. I'm going to look, character style, I could stick with the regular, and my weight, and again, give it a color just so I can see when these things are implemented. Okay, now I'm going to go down to the next one and grab some of this, make the next one. Yep, you guessed it, H5. Basic formats, very good. And again, giving it a color. Okay. Now this one, I'll actually give it a name. I'm just going to call it body copy. And see that it has a regular weight and an auto. And yeah, I'll even go red there. Okay, my type color, when I'm implementing this, it's going to look chaotic and crazy, but I want you again see the difference. Okay, so this is how, well, now we've built our character styles. Now on this document, there are no character styles applied. And I can tell that because, you know, this should be the body copy, and if I highlight some of this and click it, I'm applying body copy. And you can see, sure enough, it is the same size, weight, etc., typeface, but it's a different color. So that's where it's been applied. So I'm not quite ready to do that yet, because we're going to use these as a paragraph style. Now, in order to understand paragraph styles, you're going to have to see hidden characters. So let's turn the view off here. I'll go back to normal. And for you to see the hidden characters, if it's not already on, right now it's on, so you could hide hidden characters. Notice the pilcrows went away. Or show hidden characters, the pilcrows came on. Okay, so we want them on. And also, along with the pilcrows, you can see that there's this sideways L shape, that's a forced line break. It works very much like a return, but it's different, as a return will produce one of these pilcrows. That means a new paragraph. So that's how a paragraph style goes from a pilcrow to a pilcrow. All right, so with this document, it looks like we're going to set up one paragraph style for this material and a second one for this. All right. Again, we haven't used any paragraph styles yet. We've only created character styles. I wish they had a more sensible name, at least something that rolls off the tongue a little bit easier, but we're going to move on now to creating our first paragraph style. I don't have to highlight any type. I'm going to come over here, say new paragraph style, and this one I'm going to call it H2 through H5. And maybe I'll just call this titles. Okay. And now I'm going to go down to drop caps and nested styles. What we're going to be messing with in particular is nested styles. And the first one we're going to use is the H2. And it's going to decide, okay, how long are you going to apply this H2? When does it stop? I refer to this as a trigger. And how many triggers are there? There's only one trigger. And the trigger we're going to use is the dot of a period, because it's going to be, everyone's going to have a number, CO1 period in this case. So that's what we'll use as our trigger. So we'll say one sentence. So it'll see the period, stop. Then we'll say, hey, from then, we want you to go to the H3. And the H3, it's going to go and go until you get to, we can't see it, the forced line break. Maybe I can, all right. I'll pull it over so you can see it. Right there, that's the forced line break. So I go back to editing this. So it's going to go through not one word, but instead one forced line break. Okay, I'm not done there. I'll go on to H4. And again, I'm going to use the forced line break, because as you can see in this document, it has one right there. And then, yeah, we're going to go to the H5. And again, we're going to say the forced line break. All right, let's try this out. Let's see if it works. And let's try it out on one that doesn't have any stylized text at all, which would be this document, or this part of the document right here. And we see a pilcrow here, a pilcrow here, the number, title, author, advisor. Okay, this is exactly what we want. You don't have to grab it all. You could just grab a little piece and it could apply. And we'll come over to paragraph styles and hit it. And voila, it's applying it right there. Strangely enough, it's splitting it. So it usually is by default single column. So let's just say there. Okay. So look at that. It applied it. The number, the title, author, advisor. And notice they're all separate colors. So if we did a preview now, we can see that we're distinctly different from this one, which is manually stylized type using the character palette, to this one, which is stylized much faster. We took the time, it takes a while to organize and build character styles and build them into a paragraph style, but we did. And now we could just run through this document super fast and just go, okay, paragraph style there, all right. And on to the next one, and the document gets done very quickly after that point. All right, we still haven't created our paragraph style for the next guy. So let's see, we've done step 1 and step 2. Okay, I guess in this case we'll do a step 3, which would be making our next paragraph style. And this one we'll call it the body copy style. Oh, look at that. Every once in a while, InDesign, I'm not sure what it does, but it has that error. It tries to scramble all the letters up here. And again, we're going to go to drop caps and nested style. This one, can you guess what it's going to be? It's not going to be any H's, which stand for headlines. No, instead, it's going to be regular old body copy. Now, in this one, we could get, I don't want to confuse, I don't want to show you too many things at once. Let's just make sure it's a single column, and we got that. Okay, so there you go. Now, if I grab this and say body copy, there it is. It's done. I can come to the next one, body copy, it's done. So you can see if I'm using this system, I can be really fast. That obviously needs to be titles. This obviously needs to be body copy. And that's strange. It's only one in red. So I've got something wrong here. I thought I went through one word. I didn't want one word. I'm going to go to n-nested style character, which doesn't exist. So this is basically saying go from Pilcrow to Pilcrow. Okay, there we go. Now you can see it. Okay, that is the most simplistic basics. Yeah, you're probably going to have to watch this maybe once or twice. Sorry. It's a little tricky, but once you get it, you can work so fast. You can really work incredibly well. I am going to show you one more thing, and that's because we're still looking at a typeface error or a typographic error, and that is these line links are too long. They're over 72 characters, so studies have shown that people will lose place in there and they'll have a very difficult time reading this. But if we split this into 2 paragraphs, they'll be able to process that much faster and easier. To do that, again, we'll just go to our paragraph style for body copy since it's already set up and it already functions from Pilcrow to Pilcrow. So we'll just double click to edit it. We'll go to span columns, and in this case, we'll say we want you to split the column. We want it to split it at 2, and the gutter, which is that gap, we'll make it 0p9. And then we'll say OK. And see, now every document, or every time we use body copy, it splits. Okay. Now, if you don't like the colors, you're going to have to go back to the character styles and change those all to black rather than the various colors. This one, the reason I use the colors is just so you know, this guy, it does not have any character styles at all. It only has manually stylized type. So this is step 4. You need to take this one that you stylized and remove all of the styles. You can do that by going to basic paragraph, and it has that plus symbol. Hold down Control on your keyboard and then say clear overrides. And then it just goes back to default. And then all you need to do is grab a little bit of this and say, hey, you're body copy. A little bit of this. Hey, you're the titles. And you're in business. Okay, so yeah, why don't you try that out, test that out. You got the brief introduction to those. There's more to show you with this project, but I think one little thing at a time is the right approach. So I appreciate you working with me through video and demos just so we can keep the whole class healthy and safe. It's just the best way for us to work right now and still be able to work in person as much as possible. So happy to answer questions, particularly when we meet together as a class, but this way you can move together on this project.